Google isn't sending people to websites anymore. It's replacing them. What looks like a search engine is increasingly a machine that reads the internet for you, keeps the traffic, and leaves the original creators with nothing. The open web is shrinking for the first time in its history. Search traffic is disappearing at an alarming rate. This isn't a glitch. Google is transforming from a gateway to the internet into a closed-loop answer machine, one that might be starving the very websites it depends on. And the consequences are terrifying. Chapter 1: The Ghost Town. Google search isn't starting to just feel empty, it is empty. The internet as we know it is dying. Experts predict that search volume will fall 25%. People are leaving the search box for chatbots and AI helpers. In any other business, that would be called a crisis. But that's only part of the story. Analyst Rand Fishkin pulled real browsing data from thousands of users. He found that 58.5% of US Google searches now end in 0 clicks. People read the answer and never open the page. In Europe, that number is even higher, 59.7%. For every 1,000 searches Americans type, only about 360 reach an external site. The rest stay locked inside Google's ecosystem. Close to 30% go to Google's own sites, like YouTube and Maps. The most used information tool on Earth now sends most people nowhere. It's become a dead end. The writer Nilay Patel calls this Google Zero, and it's the point where a site's Google traffic falls to almost nothing. For years, that was only a fear. Now it's normal. Behind those numbers are real people, and it's them who are feeling the effects. One of them is House Fresh, a small British review site run by Danny Ashton. He bought air purifiers and tested each one for efficiency and its running cost. He then told readers which ones were a scam. For months, his page ranked near the top for best budget air purifiers. Then came the Google update. The site lost about 91% of its Google traffic. Years of reviews and consumer help vanished in one change, and the bigger brands stepped in to take its place. House Fresh got buried. It was not alone. Thousands of hobby blogs and small independent companies vanished. Each of them knew something worth knowing and gave it away for free. They suffered the same fate: a good year, an update, and then a collapse. The traffic didn't move to a better source, it just stopped. This wasn't by chance, it was a conscious decision by the company that initially championed them. Chapter 2: Code Red. For 2 decades, Google had owned the business of answering questions. It was where people turned when they needed information. Google It became a part of everyday language. Then in 2022, a startup in San Francisco launched a tool called ChatGPT. Suddenly, a chatbot could answer you right away. No list of blue links to dig through, just the answer. According to the New York Times, Google's leaders called an internal code red. Engineers were pulled off of their projects. The founders who had stepped away years earlier were pulled back into the building. The biggest name in information had been caught off guard. The fear made sense. The threat hit the one thing that made Google rich. It was a simple process. You came to Google, Google sent you somewhere else. On your way out, it sold an ad. The whole fortune rested on that single click. Google worked like a toll booth on a road that it didn't build. The more places it could send you, the more it earned. Search ads are not a side business for Google. They are the engine, and that engine sits inside a company now worth about $2 trillion. Lose the search habit and the whole thing begins to stall. It's an innovator's dilemma. To survive, you have to break the very thing that made you rich. Google's business depended on users leaving that search page. Users had to go to the source. So it made a choice. To beat a chatbot, Google had to become one. It would eat its own business model. It would keep the traffic it used to give away and take the web's knowledge for free, and the people who wrote that knowledge would get nothing. Chapter 3: The Window Shopper. In 2023, Google tested a new feature known as Search Generative Experience. In May 2024, it launched it as AI Overviews. Users would ask a question, and before any link loads, Google would write the answer in a box at the top. It builds that answer from the websites listed below it. It provides the user with the answer before they even glance down the page. It happens on the most banal searches. You could ask how to get a red wine stain out of the carpet. The steps are right there at the top of the page. You never visit the cleaning blog that figured them out. You got the answer, that blog got nothing. But it's not always right. When it first launched, it told people, put glue on your pizza. Told another user to eat a small rock each day. Those lines came from old jokes scraped from sites like Reddit. Google patched the worst ones fast, but the fact remained the AI takes the traffic whether it's right or wrong. The Pew Research Center ran a study in March 2025 tracking 900 American adults across nearly 69,000 searches. When an AI overview appeared, clicks to a normal site fell to 8%. Without that summary, that number was 15%. Overviews cut the chance of a click almost in half. For the top result, outside studies show the drop can be worse still. AI overview keeps the traffic, and the site gets nothing. People rush to Google's defense. The overviews list their sources, the links are right there in the box. So surely the traffic still flows. The same study found that people click the link inside the AI summary just 1% of the time. And it's by design. Most overviews point to 3 or more sources at once. So each writer's credit shrinks to a footnote, while Google keeps the reader. It gets worse for the smaller names. The links that do get clicked tend to go to Wikipedia, YouTube, and Reddit. Government pages show up far more often than in normal results. News sites barely move. A lone expert site rarely sees that traffic at all. The big names get bigger, the small ones disappear. The damage doesn't just stop at the missing click. After reading a summary, people were more likely to just close the page. They ended the whole search 26% of the time. Without a summary, only 16% did. Overview effectively ends the user's curiosity. It's not a rare occurrence. At the time of the study, about 1 in 5 Google searches showed a summary. For questions that start with who, what, or why, the overviews box showed up most of the time. Those are the exact moments someone wants to learn. And that's exactly where the open web is being shut out. Chapter 4: The Great Purge. Google has stated publicly that its updates reward helpful content from real experts. It says they bury the thin slop pages. That's the promise. The March 2024 update did something else. Across search after search, it pushed expertise down. Forum threads floated up instead. Anonymous Reddit posts and Quora answers beat people who had studied a topic for years. Type in a health question, and a Reddit thread can sit above sites built by doctors. Millions of hours of expert work slid off of the front page within a week, all because recognition beats knowledge. In simple money terms, a ranking is a paycheck. The work that explained science, fixed gadgets, and tested products disappeared because it wasn't profitable enough for systems built to keep attention. What filled in the gap wasn't necessarily better answers, but more engaging ones, confident guesses, often wrong, that read like expertise. Over time, tested explanations were pushed down and forum-style speculation moved up. The official reason was quality, and that wasn't true. Google had just found something it wanted more. Chapter 5: The $60 million Enclosure. In February 2024, Google signed a deal with Reddit, worth almost $60 million a year. In the months surrounding that deal, Reddit's place in Google's results exploded. Outside analysts measured Reddit search visibility jumping by over 1,300% between July 2023 and April 2024. The number of Reddit pages ranking in Google nearly doubled, from about 22 million to 41 million. A site that people used to actively avoid became one of the biggest winners on the page. By some counts, it became the second most visited site from Google search in the country. Only Wikipedia ranked higher. Reddit now pulls hundreds of millions of search clicks every month. In return, Google got a flood of conversations to train its AI. Reddit was sitting on the largest amount on the open web. The very posts that trained its models got pushed to the top of the search. One payment bought the training data and the front page all at once. Then it got more insidious. Reddit moved to block almost every other search engine from reading its pages. Google was the only one left standing. Every single post and comment on Reddit got sealed off and handed to the company with the biggest paycheck. For a while. Reddit later sold a similar deal to OpenAI for a reported $70 million. For everyone outside of this deal, this is eviction by any other name. Small businesses or creators can't give Google a $60 million stream of data, so they're left on the outside. The sites that created the Reddit threads receive nothing in return, while the threads themselves rise in visibility. A small blog does the original research, a Redditor links to it, and attention flows elsewhere until the blog slowly dies. Essentially, access comes with a price. Chapter 6: The $2 billion Extinction Event. Digital media company Raptive modeled the impact of Google's AI-generated summaries and estimated that publishers could lose around $2 billion a year in ad revenue. Affected sites could see traffic fall 20 to 60%. Those are numbers no business can survive. Not long after, Raptive's innovation chief Mark McCollum revised the numbers. He thought $2 billion was now on the low end. That's enough capital to collapse almost every major digital newsroom in the US. None of them have large enough subscriptions to soften the blow. Local papers, investigative teams, and small niche publishers will get hit first. They don't have the cushion to stop it. There's no big subscription base that can absorb that amount of losses. What makes it worse is that the cost of doing the work doesn't actually change. An investigation still takes months. Lab tests still cost money. Reporting still means travel, time, and legal review. All of it. But if the traffic disappears, the funding disappears with it. AI searches now take away one of the last ways these digital media teams can earn money. This isn't just an American problem. In Germany, AI overviews now pull in hundreds of millions of clicks from publishers each month. It is the same machine producing the same result in every market Google runs in. Google isn't blind to any of this. It sees the traffic and it reads the same complaints everyone else does, yet it keeps going. It's a sacrifice the company is willing to make. Chapter 7. The Innovator's Murder. Google is not doing this out of hate or stupidity. It is doing it out of fear of losing. It's in a fight for its life. Its rivals, OpenAI, Microsoft, and Perplexity, are all racing to own how people get information. OpenAI has ChatGPT, Microsoft has Copilot, Google's own answer is Gemini. It even rolled out an AI mode that replies in full conversations. Billions of dollars and the future of the company ride on the result. The open web functioned like a partner in Google's ecosystem. Publishers created content, Google helped people find it, and the traffic flowed back to the source. Now that relationship has shifted. The web is less a partner than a feedstock. It's an endless supply of human-written material that can be absorbed and returned without sending the reader anywhere. Destroying independent publishing isn't necessarily the goal, it is the aftermath of pursuing something else. Google didn't set out to kill the web, they set out to compete. In August 2024, a federal judge found Google had illegally held a monopoly over search. The penalties were soft. Google kept its browser, told to share some of the data and drop a few exclusive deals. Naturally, Google is appealing. The monopoly it held was deemed illegal, yet practically stayed in place. But Google's plan has a fatal flaw. It needs to keep eating human knowledge faster than it kills the source. If these sources weaken, then there's less to draw from. So you'll end up with a built-in paradox. Google is a snake eating its own tail. Chapter 8. The Dead Internet Spiral. When websites lose traffic, they lose revenue. When revenue dries up, they scale back or shut down entirely. The systems built on that don't just slow down, they start reaching for whatever's left. That means Google's AI needs to train on content produced by other systems like itself. It's the slow rot that sets in when a system learns from the copies of the copies. Each new version drifts further from the truth. The errors pile up, the ideas narrow, and human thought flattens into a pale comparison of what came before. An answer engine that eats its own food supply runs out of things to say. For about 30 years, anyone with something to say could publish it to the world. If you were right, people would find you. A curious browser could learn from an expert on the other side of the planet. A small shop could be found for being good, not for being big. Now the web fills with pages written by AI, built to game the system. Real voices get harder to find each year, and you start to question if a person wrote what you're reading. Doubt and cynicism becomes the default. That's not how human knowledge is supposed to grow and develop. Now curiosity is run by gatekeepers and paywalls. The shared library is being locked. This is how you kill a website without ever attacking it. You just stop sending people to it. But the pushback is already starting. Publishers are organizing to change the machines directly. Really simple licensing borrows a familiar playbook from the music industry. Radio had to start paying for songs, and now the idea is to apply the same logic to AI systems consuming web content. If you can't survive on clicks anymore, you sell access to the work itself. News sites, authors, and small publishers are all testing versions of that idea. Still, it may not be enough. Because the deeper damage isn't just financial, it's not even just about which websites survive and which don't. It's the weakening of something more basic, the link between knowing something and sharing it openly. Google may well win its race, but the result could be a world with less knowledge. This isn't the only way Google is destroying the web. The rise of AI slop is taking over your search page. Find out more, and you need to stop using Google right now. Or watch this.